Nice.
Yeah, I mentioned something to Mike Westine. He's like, oh, one of the wheel in. Like, yeah, how did you know? So I've been there about because. But I figured it was a nice. nice place. You can just plunge the one outside the window, right?
You know, on a field trip, outside.
Stand by the window. I'd like to welcome you all to what's today, October 1st, 2025 Select Board meeting. Let's stand as able to pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So the first item on our agenda is to approve the minutes from the Select Board meeting dated September 17, 2025. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So,
Tim's the motion.
second.
Peter's the second. Any comments, changes, corrections?
No, I had nothing. This was great. Perfect job. Thank you, Sue.
I had nothing either. So
You're welcome.
nice job. Peter, do you have anything?
Nope.
Okay.
Set.
All in favor of the approving the Select Board meeting minutes from September 17, 2025, please say aye. Aye, opposed nay. Thank you. Next is citizens' comments. So if there's anyone in the audience that would like to make any comments on anything that's not on the agenda, now's your opportunity to do that. If you come up, introduce yourself and use the microphone so Zoom world can hear you.
Okay, Paul Bidgood. I would like, good evening, board, to the chairman. Again, I would like to know if you could give me a update on the response to my February 5th letter of this year. I've come now repeatedly to several meetings. Last meeting, it was stated that someone was doing some research and that Jim was waiting for documents. So it seems like the wheels are starting to turn to get a response. So I would like to just know, where we are on that.
So I sent you an email this morning.
Oh, you did?
I did.
Thank you. Thank you.
That documentation has been received, has
Okay.
been sent to Jim. There is a
Okay.
meeting with Jim on next Wednesday
Okay.
to go over that information. So something that we will.
Oh, okay, thank you very much. I did not check my email. It's a joy, one of the things of being retired.
Thank you, Paul. Anyone else? Like,
Yeah, I saw your.
come on up and
You have- oh,
introduce yourself and
Sure, I'm Kirk Matt Guinness, and I saw class 4 roads on the agenda, and we've talked about this before, about a year ago. So I zoomed in on that system there, and so really shouldn't be new business. But what I do have here is if I have a couple minutes, I'd like to just bring this up. This right here.
yeah.
is
So
the,
Mr. McGinnis, if we could put this under the class 4 road discussion that we're having.
Well, that's what I thought, yeah.
Okay.
So, and I didn't want to skip that on this particular phase and miss that without, with being a little bit.
Right. No, we can add this to or it is part of the class 4 road discussion.
Okay, well, I'll just hold off, 'cause
Yes,
I
so
do have some information I want to put out in reference to the class 4 road in Chester.
okay, that'll be the time to do it. So
Super.
agenda item number 7.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any other comments? All right, next is old business. You should have gotten a manager's memo that has some old business on it. Julie, you want to take us through that, please?
The Church Street rail crossing, the rail had done work to that crossing. Paving was horrible, kind of left a jump that location. They have now completed that.
It's very nice
Yes,
too.
they did a good job. So they have completed that. That should be all set. Depot Street sidewalk, as the board knows, but, for the public, we did receive the additional 908,000 funding for the Depot Street sidewalk project. I also received today, the, rail agreement. It has been signed by everybody now except the Secretary of Transportation. He is the last one to sign. So the rail and the state rail division have signed off. So I should have that in my inbox probably next week. So we should be good.
6 years?
6 years, 6 years. Forget that. The plan, once we have that, the plan going forward, will be, a revised grant agreement. I'll be meeting with Derek Henderson, who is our contact with V-Trans. Have some discussions about, if we are allowed to amend the scope of work for this project. If in fact we are, since this was a project designed in 2018, things have certainly changed a little bit since then. So we'll bring the scope back to the board, just have a discussion, a public discussion about, do we want to keep the scope the way it is? Is there anything, do we want to get rid of the lights and extend and see if we can just do more sidewalk? But I've got to find out if that's even allowed at this point. So once I have the grant agreement in place, we can have that discussion and I'll let the board know where we're at with that. We are anticipating that we will go out to bid late winter, for construction next summer.
Julie, if that does go through, that we're allowed to change the scope of it,
Mhm.
do we have a sidewalk inventory? I thought we had one
So-
at one time, with the conditions of the sidewalks and stuff.
We're having one, there's one being completed as we speak.
Oh.
So we had hired regional planning. The old one was back from like 2011. So we had it updated. And I'm just waiting for a final report. They sent a draft. There were some changes that we needed to make. So I'm hoping to get that. We'll have that.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. So we also found out, last week that we were awarded the Assistance to Firefighters Grant, 187,000. For additional work for the public safety departments, portable radios, ambulance monitor, the Lucas compression device, and some miscellaneous training equipment. So this is Mike Ramsey's first stab at that federal fee funding. So, he was successful. It's a very hard grant to get. So that's great. Other grants, so it is grant season, as we call it. So the grants that have come in that are due in the next month, just to give you a heads up, we'll be applying for Better Back Roads. We do every year. Historic preservation grants for some work at the Academy building, the municipal planning grant for the town plan upgrades. A recreation grant, we have talked a few times about a level walking path at the Pinnacle. And the transportation alternatives grant, CAP grant, is another grant that is opportunity for sidewalk up to 600,000. So we'll be looking at that once I get the sidewalk inventory to do an additional relatively large section of sidewalk with no rail crossing involved. And then the stormwater mitigation grants have opened. Kirby's looking at a couple of large box culverts out on Poplar Dungeon, maybe doing one of those. And then this year, the ACCD priority projects list, it's not a grant by itself, but there's 10 projects selected from the region. By Springfield Regional Development Corp is the head of that. The SRDCs throughout the state are what fund this. And if you make it to the top 10 and are on that list, they're priority funded with federal money that flows through the state each year through ACCD. So I plan to apply for that for the wastewater treatment plant. Hoping that we could make the list. I'm being told we would have a very good chance to make that top 10 list, which means there's a couple of grant sources that we could apply for down the road that would hopefully pay for the wastewater treatment plant upgrades. So that's the whole thing. That's just what's going on in there.
Julie, that recreation grant, that walking path at Pinnacle, what's with that? What's the story with that, the backstory?
We've talked about that a couple times about having a like a meandering path through the rec facility. So it would be probably a 3-season path would be the plan. I'm not sure it would be plowed in the winter, but we could talk about that. And it's just a meandering path that is ADA accessible. It's just a walking path that just and like I said, meanders around the level ground. We've talked about that a few times over the years, it's just never risen to a priority. But the rec facility is looking very good right now, so thinking we could apply and that would be a nice piece to add. That would be accessible for everybody. Okay,
Excellent. Thank you.
that's it for all this.
Questions from the board? All right, next is the coin drop. And so you should have a document laying out all of the aspects of this particular coin drop request. Is anybody from the Legion here to present? You sort of come on up. Want to introduce yourself and
My name is Ed Peterson. I'm the commander of the American Legion Post 67 in Chester. Scott Wendell is ill tonight, was unable to come to it, and he asked me if I would come over and whatever, sign the paperwork or pick up the paperwork for him.
okay. And so this is just a typical request for a coin drop on Route 103. Anything that we need to,
And look
Thanks, Bob.
last year, it's been approved for 4 years.
And we've got the locations of all the signs and where we're supposed to set up.
excellent. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions from the board, discussions?
The application is very thorough.
We need a motion to authorize the chair.
So I will entertain a motion to approve the chair signing this document.
So moved.
So Tim's the motion. We have a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Excellent, thank you.
What's the date?
The date of the.
10th.
10/10,
9 to
from
5.
9 to 5.
All right, next is the Economic Development Committee discussion. Do we have anyone here who's gonna talk about, it, or is that you? Okay.
So modified documents, referencing the language that you wanted about agriculture and
Are
forestry.
you talking about the governing law
Like
bylaw?
bylaw, yeah.
Okay.
So that has been added, per request, in the memo. I let you know Preston did make a phone call, did some research with the Secretary of State about the Chester Economic Development Corporation that is inactive and is administratively terminated. And then the Chester Economic Development Committee is also an assumed name of the corporation that is inactive and expired. So that was a concern. We were worried about, having the same name. There was also conversation about the Chester Community Alliance that was terminated in 2020, reinstated in 2024, is active and in good standing. But we won't have any interference with that, because it would be the Chester Economic Development Commission.
So just one thing on here that, this looks great to me. Great step for the town. In the paragraph 4, where it says if more than 25% of the meetings are missed within a year, it's possible that the chair may recommend the replacement. I wonder if that should be a little stronger and say remove that number? Or what's the board feel about that?
This is the same language from the Housing Commission bylaw. If I recall from that discussion, the feeling was there could be a reason, something could be going on, maybe you don't want to automatically force somebody off, but you can have new discussion about that, so.
Well, it would be that, it'd still be up to the chair. It would be the chair's discretion the way this is worded.
Yep.
I don't have a strong feeling about it. That was the only thing I saw in here that I questioned. So I don't know how the rest of the board feels about that. Because it doesn't really have any teeth at all to say it's possible the chair may recommend a replacement.
I guess from my perspective, the fact that this is all volunteer, I don't know that we want to obligate somebody to do more than they're able to. And so I'm happy with the wording. I understand what you're saying. If this were something where we're actually expecting somebody to participate more than just in a volunteer position, I would probably agree with you, hard.
No, I agree. I agree with Lee. I mean, you're asking a volunteer board to put their time in. 25%, mitigating circumstances can come up all the time. And you just, it might be every other meeting or something like that, I think. I'm good with it.
So just to the letter of the language, and I know, bear with me here, because I can be a little stickler about this stuff. I know you can relate to that. Just what this says is the chair may recommend a replacement. I recommend that we put somebody else in. And then what? Then what happens? Does the board vote on it? Does the chair make the call? Like,
I guess that would be up to how the chair wants to organize the board, and if the chair feels strongly enough that somebody should be replaced, then certainly the chair can do that. And if somebody else feels that somebody should make that motion, then, the chair, the board can entertain it.
but this being a bylaw, shouldn't it be clear what that process is?
I also am thinking, I'm leaning towards, if I may interject, towards what Tim is saying. So the process for replacing any appointed member of any committee would be that they need to send applications to the select board, and the select board would appoint. So it probably should be worded that the chair recommends removal. And then it would follow the process of appointment to a committee.
Well, but you're also gonna have to have that person, say, you're gonna, you're gonna rescind what you're doing at chair. The person is gonna have to step down. Because,
They can recommend
Yeah.
removal. They can't remove, they can
Right.
recommend removal.
So who would remove that person?
It would have to be the select board.
And is there a process similar to other boards or committees that we'd have to go through? I'm assuming.
Yeah,
there is.
I mean, any
Not like-
vacancy on any, planning commission, DRB, housing commission, any of them.
Cause we've had those discussions, I don't know if all of you guys have had, we've had discussions in the past about removal, and it's
That
not
was,
necessarily a comfortable process.
Planning commission's different though.
that it is different. There's,
Right.
right, and CPD or housing commission are advisory. They're not the same stuff.
So there's a different level that we need to obtain in order to remove somebody than say the commission.
Correct, that's different recognition statute.
The other
Advisory.
state statute, I believe.
Yes,
that has
planning
the
commission
problem
is-
for those, but
Okay, these are advisory committees.
So you're
I
recommending
think that-
here that we should replacement with
With
removal.
removal.
And then do we need to Tim's point, do we need to clarify more what happens then, or is it assumed? Cause I'm thinking may recommend removal to the select board, who would then entertain appointments or appoint somebody else, or I'm not sure what the language would be.
The intent of paragraph 4 is just simply to say we expect your participation.
Okay.
I don't know that it needs to get into all
Do we,
the
okay,
language.
well, that, yeah, and that's
Yeah.
what I was
Yeah.
just wondering if that was.
So just
Removal to the, remove replacement and recommend a removal to the select board.
yes.
Okay. Anything else? Do you guys, are we good?
It's on a
with just
separate page. Are
signing
you
this?
good to sign with knowing that I'll make this change? Or do you want it to come back on November 4th?
So it won't be the first time that we've left it up to you to make a recommended
Up
change.
to you.
the big raise.
Up to you guys.
I'm fine with
Yeah,
that.
okay, well, I need to,
I'm okay with it.
do we need to make a
A motion,
motion?
yes.
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion to accept the governing bylaw for the town of Chester, Vermont Economic Development Mission formation with one amendment to change, replacement with removal to the select board under part 4 meetings.
So move.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed, nay.
So our next step will be, we'll get an ad out. And look for people interested, and then that'll come to you hopefully sometime in November for interviews and everything.
So now do we need to go to the job description or that's, we don't need to,
You don't need to vote on that. If there's anything in there that you'd like to amend it, vote on it.
well, it seems that it's actually the job description.
Well, they had
Yeah.
that same thing about the replacement.
Oh, where is that on?
Make that edit.
From job description,
Let's do
number
that.
one.
Okay.
Any other thoughts or comments on that? Excellent. Next on the agenda is signing the flag policy.
But my apologies for that email. I was looking at the last meeting.
No worries. No worries at all.
Thought she had the date wrong. She didn't, of course.
Yep, you need to come up to the mic to speak.
Again, I'm Ed Peterson. I'm with the American Legion. I'm here. We put out approximately 45 flags on the street. This was the first year we did North Street. And then we continued up there, replaced them. We bought in excess of 35 new flags and poles. We understand the controversy, about them wrapping. We went out and spent several $100s and bought what they call spinners. And you put one on top and you put one on the lower half and it's supposed to counteract the wind, the truck traffic and everything. Andy Soul and myself have spent numerous nights going around with a ladder, climbing the pole, trying to re-straighten them. And it's just a battle of Mother Nature. You go through any of the communities from Perkinsville to Ludlow to anywhere, and they're all in the same situation. I'm here tonight. I just would like to get clarification of what this new policy is to see if we can conform with it or if we're not going to be able to conform with it. Ours is strictly a volunteer organization down there. Most of the guys are working. The other half, including myself, but I'm still able to do it, are aging quite heavily. And we need to get it understood so we can be ready for Memorial Day next year. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So the intent of this is not to put the thumb screws to you guys, but just to encourage proper display of flags.
I know.
And certainly appreciate all that you're doing to make it happen and to do your best to make the flags be flown in appropriate manner.
Yep. We appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't think it was ever our intention that it would be a controversy, and I hope it wasn't portrayed that way. We all have the same interests in mind. We appreciate what you do with the flags, and we all want to honor the flag as much as we can in this town.
Yeah.
And it was just a matter of, what guidelines do we follow through with and stuff. No one's gonna run out and call the flag police and have them taken down. We don't want anything like that at all.
No.
That wasn't the intention of what we were doing.
I know, and
just
I
wanted
think
to
it
make
got
that clear.
misunderstood and
Yeah.
people saw it on the
Yeah,
television and all the other nonsense.
and they
that
blow it up
people
and it
follow.
turns into a big issue, I think, and
I mean, our intentions are great to
Yeah.
honor the flag and take care of the community.
Yep.
And we don't want an embarrassment, but
Yep.
Andy and I have gone out on a night like tonight and fixed the flags. And I get at the club quite early, 6 a.m, and do a drive around and 3 or 4 of them are already flipped over one night.
Well, I appreciate the effort that you all make for flags up and the effort this season to keep them in compliance with the flag code.
Right.
And that's all we were looking.
Yeah, and we took care of, again, when we had the guy with the lift that does work for the town. The one at the North Street Cemetery, that was hanging by a thread. we were able to redo that one. We came by here, we had the lift, so we fixed the one out here. We try to keep on. We gave the police department a new flag because that one was pretty faded and they put that one up. So we're pretty open for anything, but you know, we can only do so much.
Right. Well,
Thank you for your
much.
time.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Okay, so, I need a motion to sign the flag policy.
I'll make that.
Didn't we-
Go ahead.
Sorry, I thought we passed this last week and we didn't need another motion?
Did we, or did we just sign it?
Yeah.
I think we did, yeah.
Yeah, we passed.
Okay. Never mind, my bad.
Our last meeting.
Could we hear what that, new flag policy is?
Sure.
Sure, we'll give you a copy of it. Oh, it's, you don't want me to read it to you out loud right now, I'm assuming.
Well, I don't
it's-
think
It's 1 page, 5 bullets, that's all it is.
I'm happy to read it for you, Mary, if you'd like.
I can read it out loud if you like. Would you like me to? The board?
Sure, go
okay
ahead.
with that? Sure. Paragraph 1, purpose. It is the intent of the town of Chester to establish a town-wide policy which follows the United States and the state of Vermont provisions governing the display of flags, including the United States flag and the state of Vermont flag. Paragraph 2, reference. United States and state of Vermont provisions governing the display of flags. These can be found in the United States Code, Title 4, Chapter 1, and the Vermont statutes annotated, Title 1, Chapter 11. Application, this is paragraph 3. This policy applies to all buildings and properties owned or controlled by the town of Chester and all streets and roads and their defined rights of way within the town of Chester. Paragraph 4, guidance. Display and care of flags. The town of Chester follows the federal and state of Vermont flag code and protocol governing the display and care of flags, including the United States flag and the state of Vermont flag. Paragraph 5, compliance enforcement. Any flag or flags which are not displayed and maintained in accordance with the above referenced codes and statutes, regardless of the party or parties having placed the flag or flags, may be removed by the town of Chester. That's it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sir, could I get a copy of that to take back to our place?
Sure, I'm sure you can.
Thank you.
Next is the class 4 road policy and discussion.
Can I see what you want on the phone?
Yes, come on in, I'll have a copy of all that, then for you back. Yeah.
So this is a continuation of our discussion over the last several meetings relative to class 4 roads. And so we have in front of us a document that was provided to us, a draft of the class 4 highway policy, completed or drafted by the Chester Conservation Committee.
Did most of the work on it for sure.
So hopefully you all had opportunity to review this, and this would be our second go around at looking at this in its current format. Would anybody have any thoughts or comments to make about this?
The one that was handed out, this last one, the only change that I had put in there was on the town road foreman. And it was changed to the director of public works because that's Kirby Putnam's official title, I believe. So just to make sure it was appropriate in the policy on the power of who could do what. It was changed to the director of public works in conjunction with the town manager. Anywhere where it said the road foreman with the town manager.
So is that reflected in this
In
document?
the new one, yeah.
Okay, because I'm looking at for B number 2, Roman numeral 2. Supervision by the director of public works or highway foreperson.
There is a highway
So
person.
so
yeah.
that's correct.
Yeah, because there's Kirby is the director of public works and the road commissioner is Pat Jewell, I believe.
The foreman.
The foreman, yeah. So there is that chain of command.
Okay.
That would be in there.
Okay.
That's why it shows up in that one place there.
Okay.
And I think the on thing on 4 where it says, in conjunction with the town manager, it should be a P and then a capital P, a period, then a capital P for permission. Because I don't think those two sentences should go together.
4-1, 4A.
Or, the last two sentences. In conjunction with the town manager, period. Permission for repair, maintenance, improvement, restoration, or installation shall be given in accordance with. I think that's the only thing I got.
I had a
Something else?
clarification question, just in that same section.
Mhm.
Is this saying that there are two signatures required, the Director of Public Works and the town manager? Or just that the town manager would be consulted in the
This
process?
is just in conjunction with, so I would be.
Okay,
So does that period go after Public Works? Or does it go after Town Manager?
I believe after, makes sense,
town manager.
after town manager.
capital P on permission.
Yeah.
Then permission is given in accordance with 19 years.
Yeah, because then it really just refers to the statute.
Okay.
But other than that, I think it's pretty much the document that we've had. With the
Right.
changes that have been made, as we've been working on it for the last couple of months.
Okay, in 4 AB. 4, 5, 4, yeah, 4 form, I guess the numerical difference is. A little strange, it's follow the Agency of Natural Resources. It's not, it's just best practices, and the B and P are both capitalized and the road doesn't belong there.
What was that again, Peter?
So in this line,
Yep.
4B,
Right. I don't know, the nomenclature there is
I-
a little up
it
there.
should be IV, right? We look.
Yep,
So one of the comments I had was just formatting.
I don't
Make-
have access to this
Right.
document.
Yeah.
Um,
So once
Send it to me.
once we're done with it, format it in accordance with the town specification.
I'll send you the link.
Frank, just get me access to Google Docs and I can. pull it.
Yep.
That's fine.
And I'll go through and add a bunch of commas and stuff.
And you want us to sign it now?
shocked.
Before you move on to another item of business, is my opportunity to weigh in on this?
Yeah, hold on just a second. I think we're almost done with our discussion. I want to invite you up.
All right.
But thank you for your patience. So any other thoughts or comments on this particular?
No, that was my only question.
Okay. Mr. McGinnis, if you want to come up, you can sit down and,
All right, that
Introduce yourself.
sounded like a class 4 issue, but mine is probably a little bit of a modified class 4 highway issue. One thing I would like to get on the record, I do have some packets, so I'm not gonna read all this information, you wouldn't want me to. But I'd like to leave it with the town manager and
Is this stuff you've already sent me, Kirk? Cause they
No.
have everything you've already sent.
I
Okay.
sent some stuff, but this is kind of more recent,
Okay,
okay?
so Mr. McGinnis, if you could just hold on for a second, I
Oh,
think
sure.
this, did you have something pertinent to this discussion?
And I'm from Springfield, so I can't vote on it. We've got another meeting to attend and
Okay.
I'd like to be excused.
Yep, yep.
Again, thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you for coming. We appreciate your time.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. McGinnis, go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry for the
okay,
interruption.
well, Chair, members, good evening, and I'm submitting a written packet, as I mentioned, for the record. My ask is simple, basically, pause notice permits in an ADA, but I bring that up. Americans with Disability Act. So if time is limited, which I imagine it is here, my details are in the packet, please enter it into the record. Again, pause notice permits ADA. I am making my own recording. I know this is recorded, but this kind of gives me a backup. And this precise reasoning for this is in annotation 709 and 710. Anyway, let me go ahead and get into the packet a little bit here. And it does require some motion. I'm not 100% sure if you'll want to look at that this evening, but maybe I could leave that. You want to go back. It gave me the whole
Yeah, so we're not gonna be, you're welcome to give us your thoughts, but we will not be making any motions on this.
Okay, but I did want to at least enter it into the system.
Yep.
So
Thank
I'll be quick. I'm Kirk Matt Guinness. I'm an abutting landowner on Wyman Falls Road. Chair and members, thank you. I'm here with a narrow lawful ask, basically pause the bridges, the parking and the trail work on Wyman Falls Road and the Brook corridor until the town completes the required process and confirms permit coverage. Now, if you look at the minutes, we discussed this in October 24. There's some minutes about this already. And what we had agreed on was starting with a parking place for the public. And from there, we would go to the bridges and then give public access. Well, we have just done nothing with the parking spot and just bypassed that and started construction on the bridge. So anyway, let me go on. Under Vermont annotation statute 709-710, I'll be referencing that quite a bit. Before altering a town highway's layout, improvements or use in any way that burdens abutters or the public, the board must warn and schedule a site visit and public hearing with mailed notice to abutters. That has not occurred. Proceeding without 709-710 is procedurally defective. 2, stream work, DEC, right? Department of Environmental Conservation, right? Working adjacent to the perennial stream, including bridge approaches in channel disturbances, excavation, fill, or grading with top of the bank, it triggers a DEC review under 10. That's an article in your packet. No proof of permit or emergency authorization has been produced. Okay, then it goes, this is a big deal, ADA, this is Vermont, but in the United States, ADA is a big deal. As a municipal program facility, any new or altered trailhead, parking, or bridge must satisfy Title II of the ADA and 28 CFR Part 35 program accessibility. New construction, alterations, there is no ADA analysis in the record. Denying accessible parking and route is unlawful and excludes wheelchair users, including my wife, who is widely regarded, as I am, as the Wyman Falls steward and host for everybody, right? We get that by default as tax-paying citizens. We're the hosts. Okay, number 4, I have submitted a request for a temporary restraining order in Vermont Superior Court. Rule 65 considers irreparable harm, likelihood of success in equities. Given the skipped 709-710 process, missing 1021 coverage and ADA exposure, the status quo should be preserved by this board voluntarily tonight. Okay. Request actionable, minimal, fast. A vote to pause all construction, staging, and installation on Wyman Falls Road and within the Brook corridor. A notice 709-710 site visit and hearing occurs with mailed notice to abutters. DEC confirms stream alteration coverage or determines none is required. The town completes a Title II ADA review with a written accessibility plan. Warn and schedule 709-710 site visit and hearing within 30 days with mailed notice to all abutters. Direct production within 3 business days under Public Records Act 1, 315-320 of plans, emails, bids, contracts, grants, files, permits, requests, AD analysis, and any enforcement correspondence. There's already a bunch of logs and stuff ready to go. Okay, parking has not been established. Record and reservation. Please note my objection on the record to any further work absent these steps. Nothing herein waives any rights or remedies. The board declines to pause. I request a roll call vote and written findings explaining. We can bring that up down the road if you like. Coverage and unnecessary and how Title II AD is satisfied. This is simple. Pause, notice, permits, and ADA. Preserve the status quo. follow the statutes and protect the town from avoidable liability. Okay, so that's what I wanted to say. I wanted to enter this in the public record. And you look over the motions, I mean, it's all right there. You know, I didn't buy the property to be the steward of the property for the town.
Mr. McInnes, we appreciate the information that you've given to us and the presentation,
Yeah.
and we will be discussing this at a later time. So thank you for your time and all the work that you've done. Clearly, you are passionate about this, and we will make every attempt to make sure that we address it correctly.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Thank you. Sure. Next on the agenda is the local options tax discussion. Anybody have anything?
Before we head on, do we need anything for the class 4 with those changes?
I think we're gonna make the changes.
And then bring it back
And
again?
then I think bring it back. I'll do the reformatting.
Oh,
So
so-
send that to me. yeah.
Thank you. Sorry.
Yep. Yeah, thank you for reminding me about that. So, we had started the discussion about local options tax, a meeting or two ago, and, it's our opportunity to continue that discussion. Mr. Roper, you have something you'd like to say?
Well, I'm smiling because I'm surprised at the lack of public comment on any of this. It's been advertised and, I guess it's not, at this point at least, something that citizens are concerned about.
People
And I-
that I've talked to have not been expressing a lot of support for it. I'm not sure that, as we've found in the past, that, getting information out to the public is a difficult task. I'm guessing if this showed up on the ballot in March, that we might have a little bit more interaction with people. But what's the pleasure of the board at this point relative to either furthering this discussion or putting it off?
Well, my intent in asking that it be on at least one meeting a month was to make sure that the discussion is open and that people are welcome to come and speak. Maybe having it so open-ended is causing some people procrastinate, and maybe it's better to put some kind of timeline on it. Because I would really like to get some more public input.
Well, clearly, we can't make this decision on our own. It needs to go to the voters. So we could say that we're going to make a decision whether it gets added to the ballot or not by a date certain. But at this point, I guess I want to find out what each one of the board members thinks about this particular issue.
Julie, you sent us a timeline. What is the, and you probably know off the top of your head without me looking at it.
I have it here.
When would we have to finalize the ballot warnings?
So you will be signing the warning on January 21st.
So maybe we ought to have this in our, end of December is a bad time, people are away, first and second January meetings. And and warn it as, this is your last chance to come forward before the vote and offer your inputs.
So it sounds like, now I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it sounds like you're in favor of a local options tax for this particular.
For this particular purpose, yes.
Okay.
So, go ahead, sorry, and as we've defined it to this point.
So can you just reiterate for the group what the purpose is?
The purpose is to fund the housing commission so that the housing commission has more opportunity and leverage to work on developing new housing for the town of Chester.
And the tax would be, sorry, I don't mean to lead, I don't want to lead the witness, but the point is, I'm just trying to make sure that we're all on the same page relative to what we're taxing.
So you want to recap, so the taxes
Yeah.
are 1% on meals and rooms, which include short-term rentals. and on-premise consumed alcohol, not retail purchased alcohol.
Excellent. Thank you, Tim. Again, I don't. mean to
No,
put
no
you on the
worries.
Spot, but I just want to.
No, it's all good.
All on the same page. Okay, so Arnie, were you done?
Well,
Yes.
I was gonna ask for the clarification that you just gave, exactly what that tax was and where it could be applied. And could you do you do it all? Can you do part of it? Is it only for that? That's the way it is. That 1% is on alcohol, meals and rooms, short-term rental. But not alcohol that you would buy, like to go at a gas
It's
station.
not retail.
But it's
sales.
the,
Not retail, just on-premise sales.
so if you do the alcohol tax, it's on all.
It's the rooms and meals tax. That's what it is.
Oh, and that's what the
Within
rooms
the
and meals
rooms and meals.
applies to.
That, correct.
So that's it, that's the only option there is, that 1%, and it has to apply totally to everything that we just mentioned. There's no way to break anything
No.
else out of it.
No.
Well, this is what this particular tax would be, is on that.
If you do rooms and meals, then that is.
That's
what
what
it
it
is.
includes on-premise alcohol.
Correct. You can't say we're gonna do rooms and meals and not on-premise alcohol, It's all within that
Okay.
tax.
You know, I'm okay with a tax like that. I could see why a lot of people wouldn't be. But I think putting it before the voters is a good way to get a better reading of what they want to do with it.
And that's the only way to get it.
You know, so I mean, if it gets taken down, it gets taken down. Well, I think it would be great to have some extra money in that housing commission for the purposes that we're talking about with the housing units that we're thinking about building up on the water company land. And just in general, to help with that fund, because I was listening to an article, I think it was on NPR, it was in Shelburne, they just did 100 housing unit up there that you're just finishing. And it was huge funds. And they parlayed all kinds of different financing from different commissions in different places. And they still struggled on how much it costs and stuff. And I get it, another tax thrown in there, you know, everybody else is already taxed to death. I don't know what the answer is anymore because of the way the tax system, it just seems so aggressive because taxes seem like they influence people that don't make as much money as other people because the taxes just, to me, seems regressive all the time. Because everybody's gonna pay that 1%, whether you make 20 grand a year or whether you make 20 million. Just, that's the part about taxes that I never agreed with, but giving the people a chance to vote on it, I think that's fair.
You want to say anything?
Well, if once you spend any time and really read the housing statistics, that's probably the hardest part, because I look at Chester and I think Chester is a fairly vibrant place, but then when you read the data, it's not, you know, and how do you change that? How do you change the demographics? And the demographics need to be changed. You're gonna have to change it through housing is the only way to try to do that. I don't think you can just scatter housing everywhere and make it work. I think it needs to build the village up, and that's what's gonna help everything out. I don't think that, so I'm in favor of the tax. I'm always controversial in myself about taxing more things. I have a really hard time with that, but I don't see any way out of this.
So just, if I could just interject here, just to be clear, if I'm remembering the numbers right. The town planner, Preston, thought that this would raise about $60,000.
Right, correct.
Now, did that include the 25% the state's taking, or is that outside of that?
That the town of Chester would receive.
Receive 60,000 and the state of Vermont would receive the other 25%. I can't do that in my head.
I think that was conservative too, I'm not
Yes, he
sure.
was being conservative, because there's some numbers that we don't know definitively. Because of there was something with the rooms tax. We don't have enough establishments to give us that lump sum because it would buy us blah, 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 blah. So,
I'm wondering something like the sale on the green, how does that get thrown into the mix?
we're not
too?
doing retail sales.
No, we don't, but all the vendors do, and they charge. a
But we're
tax?
not taxing retail sales. Those would be retail sales, and that's not what we're looking to tax.
Yeah.
That's a whole different conversation.
Right, thank you.
We're
Tim,
not-
go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to back up for just a second
Bill.
and remind, Bill brought this up last time. I know you've already got your Yankees hat off, the Red Sox, so. So just a second, Bill, if I may.
please.
Bill has pointed this out many times to me when I was running for my first term, that what the town needs to do is grow the grand list. If this works as I think we're all envisioning it, the way I see it anyway, it will add housing to the town, which hopefully will make places for working people to live. And at the same time, add to the grand list. So while it's a tax on rooms and meals, mostly that will be paid by visitors, theoretically at least. In the end, it benefits the town by raising the total on the grand list, which ultimately will hold down future tax increases. That's the way I see this.
Okay. Mr. Lindsay, if you'd like to come up and
Thank you.
introduce yourself and
Bill Lindsay. I agree with the point of increasing the grand list. What I'm concerned with is to the public. It's another tax. So I asked myself, could we accomplish what we need to accomplish, which definitely help? Smaller restaurants, smaller businesses are having great difficulty in getting people. One of the items is, of course, the cost of renting a house or sharing an apartment, whatever, is detrimental to providing workers for the town of Chester. So I asked myself, how can we accomplish this, but without instituting another tax? I'm going to take you back a little bit to when we had Putney Pasta here. Excuse me for a minute, I can't remember Al Walton's daughter's name. Al Walton. Al Walton was business development for the town of Chester. When we did Putney Pasta, we needed the company, it employed people. It was a win-win for the whole town. One of the problems we had at that time was water and sewer didn't go to that property. So what we did, we took money from the town, lent them money to establish the water and sewer system. So we could go forth with getting a business and have Putney Pasta repay that cost of doing the sewer. They paid for it, the taxpayers didn't pay for it. Putney Pasta paid back their economic development fund at the time. So it was a win all the way around. So I asked myself, when I look at the money that we have in public funds, why can't we not use that money, some of that money? I understand what we need to do housing, and that's seed money to get a project going. Makes very good sense. If you don't have a stake in the game, we don't really want you, because you're not going to get the type of housing you want. But we could take some of that money that we have in development and pass it on to a potential purchaser to put in whatever's needed for the housing. We can make a loan, it's an economic development loan. You get the money back, you make money on it, okay? And the taxpayer doesn't have to shell out more money. The other question that lingers, and maybe somebody could dispute this, is that when is the last time a tax that was put on people went down? I mean, I really ask you to think about that. Once something gets in place and there's a pool of money, it's like a flashlight goes on. And we have money, now what are we going to do with it? Is there going to be a moratorium on this program if we do this or not? And if you're going to discuss it, even though it's going to be by article, okay, I think the board needs to answer those questions before you go to the taxpayer. To say, what are you going to do with the money? Why do we have to do it this way? Or is there a less inexpensive way to do it? It just amazes me when you hear of Chester, I hear, what a cute little town. I wanted to run a business there. They're not very business friendly. And I've heard that so many times, which is a sad thing for your community. The planning board has done a wonderful job, I believe, in trying to incorporate changes to make the town more friendly for business. A tax is not the answer when you're sitting on money that you could use, lend it, and get that money back for another. That's my thought. Thank you for hearing.
Thank you, Bill. Thanks, Bill. So I think I said this the first time we were having this discussion about taxes. My concern is that once you put a tax in place, it never goes away. And, you know, to Bill's point, I think that one of the statements he made was that the tax is gonna be paid by visitors. While I agree that that's probably primarily who's gonna pay it, that's not gonna be everybody. I think there will be towns folk who will be paying this tax, going out to eat, et cetera, but it seems to me that the amount of money that we could generate, the amount of revenue generated by this tax, I'm not sure. Well, $60,000 isn't anything to sneeze at. I'm just not sure what it's gonna do relative to helping us get off the ground with a housing project. And so my question is, do we have complete understanding of what the money would be used for, or why we need it? And maybe that's a question the housing commission could answer for us, unless you know, or one of you guys.
Well, I thought there was discussion about using it for land surveying and, you know, laying out streets and, you know, things that would come on the town to help. You know, to Arnie's point, the new housing is so expensive that my understanding, the blockers are the costs. Right, so septic and water are a big factor, so the idea is to get it on town water and sewer. There would be some town work on that. Surveying, laying things out, I think my understanding, that's what the housing commission would be hoping to use the
Yeah,
money for.
the initial plan was there is interest in some properties. So some, you know, appraisal that would need to be done on one. I had a meeting on Monday with the chair of the Vermont Housing Conservation Board and executive director of Wyndham Winter Housing Trust. Great conversation about funding opportunities out there that they're very interested in Chester for. One of the things they really need from us is a market study specific to Chester, not regional data. So we need to pay for that. We need to have that study done before anybody is gonna take a look at Chester. They need to know if the market for Chester is gonna support the cost of housing here. So, you know, there's those types of things. There's, you know, pro forma consulting work on big projects to determine costs. There, you know, permitting fees, you know, you can really attract developers if towns pre-permit parcels for them. So that is what the Housing Commission has been talking about as far as use of those funds, so that those are not hitting the general fund tax base to pay for. That is that's what started this conversation.
So do we have and I apologize if we've already gotten this information, but do we have a list of what the dollar amounts are for these various needs that have come up? I'm just wondering.
No, there's not like a list and this is 40, this is 50, this is 60,000. You've established, the voters established a housing trust fund to be used for these purposes. The Housing Commission is looking at ways of funding the housing trust fund.
Okay, I see.
Without hitting the general fund tax base. These are the types of things that funding would be used.
There's a preliminary planning is just to figure out what you can, if a piece of property is even worth getting, costs money. You know, and we do have in needs and things like that. We do have the housing study that was done for the parcel down here. And when you part that out, you can see there's a pretty big need for it. But how how many people are gonna fund it is kind of, that's an interesting question that they asked. So I mean, we've done a lot of the base stuff. We spent $40,000 on a housing study. We have done that. There's more little pieces that have all got to fall into it. The feasibility,
Not in-
right?
Very good.
Right, so.
And it seems like these are all steps and hoops that we have to jump through to get to the point where anybody's gonna even consider Chester to be building something like this. So if we don't address them and we don't go through all the process, just like what we do for grants, you have to have everything in line to be shovel ready. So we have to get to the point where we're shovel ready for a project to come in, and there's no guarantee that it'll happen, but you still have to go through those steps, which makes it hard.
It's
That-
about,
Peter's point, that preliminary work has gotta be done.
it's about removing obstacles to the developer. And the
Correct.
developers are for profit. They're not gonna come in and do this work if they can't make a buck on it.
What Bill was saying though, Mr. Lindsay, about. Or like you were saying, once we have a tax like that, maybe you could put a 5-year cap on to see how it works, to see what happens. And that 5 years, you get to revisit it where it's kind of required that you have to revisit it and look at it. As opposed to just, yeah, it just continues on. We're not gonna do anything about it. Well, in 5 years, it expires or you have to reaffirm it or whatever the amount or
Let me
something,
see.
just gives
I
you.
need to talk to Jim about it.
If you could do something like that.
That would.
But I mean,
that would
once you,
certainly-
go ahead.
That would certainly make me more comfortable with it. It's, you know, thinking about the process that we would go through to implement this tax and then what the funds would be used for. Bill's point again was that adding to the grand list is gonna benefit everybody in the town. So we're spending a little bit of money up front in order to,
It's an investment.
yeah, it's an investment. It's just a matter of, you know, where we're gonna get the money for that investment. And Bill's point, you know, we do have economic development funds, but using those for this particular purpose may not be what that fund is for.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but get the voters petition to put, could the voters petition to put a ballot referendum to remove the tax at some point?
Yes, I mean, yeah,
So really, it's all in the hands of the voters.
Yeah. there's the ability to do that, yeah. Yes, because it's a voted on article. So they
So
can
that
vote.
they can unvote it.
Correct.
Or I could also initiate it by a certain percentage of the voters that want
They
it, to do
could.
it even without our say.
Right, that's right.
And
right.
it can
Oh,
get
yeah.
out there too. if that
With a
makes
petition,
sense.
right.
Just curious about the sunsetting of a tax like that, if
Yeah,
that's.
I'll ask. I'm not sure,
That's a good question.
yeah, I'm not sure.
It's a tough, I'm not always inclined to, raise the taxes. Every year we struggle with our property taxes. Oh, they're up a penny, they're up 4 cents, they're up 5 cents. And to someone else that said, when's the taxes ever go down? No, I've never seen them. I think it was 1 year we scraped away with a flat rate that year, but that was about it. And it's always been going up since then.
Well, I've been doing a little research on another project and from what I'm seeing, inflation since 2010 is 35%. In the last 15 years.
That's about-
So,
that's about- yeah.
you know, that's not the town's fault. That's not. We still have to buy the things we have to buy. That's a whole nother topic.
Yeah.
And I'm sure everybody got a 35% raise. That's.
No, they did. That's part of my data that I've been collecting. Although worker productivity went up more than wage increase.
So they're producing more and getting less. I love the system.
Any other thoughts or comments on this particular issue?
No, I'm glad we had it on the agenda, though. This was a good discussion.
Yeah, and I appreciate you bringing it up, and I guess we should have another discussion in November. So we'll add this to the November agenda as well. Anything else? Next is the signing the municipal grant application, so I'm assuming we need is this the one that,
No, this is everybody's line for.
Okay.
This is the resolution for the municipal planning grant, has to get signed by the select board and the chair of the, planning commission will be applying for funds for the town plan upgrade updates. That all need to go into place.
So we need to vote. or
We
just
need a
sign?
motion. we need-
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion that we all sign this municipal resolution for municipal planning grant for fiscal year 2026.
So moved.
Tim's the motion.
Second.
Arnie's the second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
I,
Opposed? Thank you. I always sign in blue. Cause then we know if it's a.
That, that used to be a thing. Now everybody's got color copiers, so.
Yeah, not everybody uses them. All right, next on the agenda is signing the loan documents for the secondary well. And
This is- Yeah, you guys had approved this a while ago. These are the bond bank had their meeting. So now you just need to sign. First
we
document.
need a motion.
Yep, the first document is your loan agreement. This is the loan amount of 304,000.
And this is just for the chair to sign, right?
This one is just authorizing the chair, correct?
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion. To authorize the chair to sign. The loan agreement from the Vermont State Revolving Fund for the amount of $304,000.
So moved.
So Arnie's the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Well, Tim's the second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Send your general obligation note. Everybody.
So we all signed this one, correct? You don't need to vote on it. So I will entertain a motion to sign Exhibit C, which is the general obligation note relative to the aforementioned loan of $304,000.
So moved.
Who's the motion?
Second.
Arnie's the second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. I don't think. And is this the last one? Last but not least is the resolution and certificate for the general obligation for the Vermont Drinking Water State Revolving Fund. This is Exhibit D for the amount of $304,000. I need a motion to approve signing this.
So moved.
I need a motion.
Second.
Tim's a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
I,
Opposed, nay. Next is new business and the next agenda. Anybody have any new business? Julie, it looks like you have the budget adoption warning timeline. We've already talked about that.
Yep.
Anything else to discuss about that?
No, it's just for your information, so you can see the adoption schedule of everything.
Okay.
On the town meeting. Giving you in your packet the order of when department heads will be here talking about their budget. As usual, you get the budget in kind of phases by divisions of the town. So that'll start. Remember,
Where is that? I didn't see that.
at the bottom of the memo,
this one,
of my memo, of manager memo.
Oh, okay, there it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, so November fifth, public safety will be here, November 19th, we flipped a couple things, November 19th will be rec and facilities. December 3rd will be all the admin zoning listers, December 17th highway, water sewer, and then January 7th will be the first draft of the town warning, and then you'll see the whole budget of some. And then you'll set everything on January first, and there's room in there for extra meetings if you find that you need them for the budget list.
Any other new business that needs to come before the board?
I don't know if it's new business or just a question. I'm curious if the town has anything in place regarding usage of town property for overnight parking. I've been noticing folks that are probably down on the weather a little bit, homeless folks living in different places in town, and I wish there was a way to help these people to, you know, try to get some housing or have a discussion on it. And I've noticed it at the Pinnacle. There was a vehicle parked there for a little over a week, pretty much in the same spot. And you could, my impression was that somebody was living in that vehicle and stuff. I could be wrong, but because of where it was and what I've noticed when I've been watering the trees and stuff, that was there quite a bit.
Is there somebody in it?
Yeah, there was, and then there was a car next to him also. That was there every night and every day. And the car was, it looked like it was full to the tilt with person's possessions and stuff. And winter's coming, I don't know. How do we address it as a town, as a board? Are there agencies that we can contact? I just was curious about what we can do.
Yeah, when we know of somebody who's homeless, we're not aware of anybody at this point.
Yeah.
When we become aware, but it's usually through the police department,
Okay.
can make connections to some agencies in Springfield,
All right.
where there can be some transitional housing.
Mhm.
That we can get them into, we've done that a few times, we have also made arrangements and used. The San Adams support funds, within our budget to pay for some hotel rooms while we're getting people connected to those agencies, so we do have resources, so if you know of somebody who is homeless, connect them
I will.
with our public safety department or with me. Because we do have advocates.
One of the vehicles is gone, but the other one's still.
Okay. Okay, I'll ask Matt if he knows of anything, not aware of it, but they may not also not wanna come to the.
And which is sometimes the case, pride takes over, or
Sure,
they don't wanna be
Sure.
approached and they don't wanna be stigmatized, what usually what happens is.
but no, we have resources to connect people to agencies that can help with that, so if we do know of somebody,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely let us know.
Thank you.
The other thing was the second meeting in October, we decided not to do that,
That is entirely up to the board.
so.
I thought we were all going to Peru.
You're all welcome to come to Peru.
Yeah, it's only like a half-hour drive.
Right, we'll go for the fair.
Motorcycle trips.
Right, yeah.
Not very-
What's the,
But you're
what's-
welcome to meet me up.
what's the pleasure of the board? I don't think that we have anything pressing that we need to meet for, do we?
Everything that needs signature can wait for the class. So, I mean, passport roads is the next
Oh.
sign.
We'll have to come in and sign payroll.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
will-
we'll still
you can
have
sign
to-
the warrant,
yeah,
correct, and
right.
the girls will email you when there's a warrant ready.
Okay, ladies.
Ladies,
So do we need a meeting for the class 4 signatures, or we just go, do we just do it at the?
if you are if you want to, at the agenda item.
All right,
Yeah.
we'll just wait. Yeah, we'll just wait.
Approve it.
Yeah. That's fine.
So the first meeting in November would be the 5th.
Yeah.
So just plan on a long meeting that night. That's my,
Yeah, and there's not too many things. For that.
so far.
I'm not interested.
No, I'm fine with skipping the October.
But if something all of a sudden comes up, I can also reach out to you guys.
Sure.
Like that, and say,
Yep.
hey, can we?
Yep.
Oh, yeah. No, whatever.
Motion to adjourn?
I have a motion to adjourn by Arnie Janinas, and a second.
Second,
Tim is the second. Any discussion?
none?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Thank you all for attending, appreciate it.